Hello, and welcome to another video where we talk about all things contract. Today we will dive into two vital aspects of disruption claims. First, we'll explore the intricacies of quantifying disruption claims, followed by disruption cost methodology. Disruption claims. A disruption claim refers to a loss of productivity and manifests as a hindrance to the actual progress of construction activities, primarily affecting labor and equipment resources. While disruption claims are sometimes combined with delay claims, they are quite different in nature. Disruption may not always result in project completion delays. In a disruption claim, contractors contend that they were unable to achieve their planned output due to client actions, and as a result, they are entitled to compensation for losses or additional costs. In some cases, contractors may pursue disruption costs independently of seeking an extension of time, particularly if the contract allows for such claims. To warrant compensation for disruption costs, a contractor must identify the specific work activities that suffer due to the disruption and demonstrate that this disruption led to increased expenses. If you want your disruption claim to be considered valid, it must be based on a demonstration of actual progress hindrance, not merely planned progress, as is often asserted. A work-as-executed program can serve as a starting point for demonstrating reduced productivity. Let's have a look at some examples of when disruptions occurs. When a client asks a contractor to stop work on a particular task for frequent, unanticipated short periods of time, e.g., to accommodate the operational needs of a facility or building, such stoppages are not specified in the initial tender documents. Another example involves the client issuing urgent changes, causing groups of workers to frequently shift from one activity to another on short notice, preventing them from optimizing productivity on any one task. Consequently, a disruption claim must pinpoint specific events that either breach the contract terms or are situations for which the contract explicitly allows for extra costs. Once a contractor has established that a loss of productivity occurred and led to delays, they must quantify the disruption costs. This entails comparing the actual cost incurred with what the cost would have been if not for the disruption. The contractor must demonstrate that the latter cost is reasonable, even though it is somewhat hypothetical. In making such claims, the contractor must also establish that all reasonable measures were taken to minimize disruption costs, such as terminating the hire of equipment that was left idle on site. Cost details related to the affected resources can then be extracted from the project's accounting records. Consequently, any resulting disruption claim will pertain to the actual losses and expenses incurred, as opposed to referring to initial tender allowances. Let's move on to our next topic, disruption cost methodology. The calculation of disruption costs is contingent upon the extensions of time granted due to delays resulting from disruptions. If the contract does not include a method for calculating disruption costs, a contractor may submit an ambit claim, seeking the variance between the amounts initially estimated in the tender and the actual cost of the work performed. Once a contractor has established that a loss of productivity due to disruption has occurred, they must quantify the disruption costs, as shared earlier. The contractor must demonstrate that this hypothetical cost is reasonable. In pursuing such claims, the contractor must also demonstrate that they have taken all reasonable steps to minimize the costs of the disruption, such as ensuring that hired equipment is not left idle on the site when it could have been terminated. Disruption losses are frequently determined using the measured mile technique, which compares the productivity achieved on an unaffected part of the contract with that on the impacted portion. Let's look at some common areas for recovering costs in disruption claims. Indirect costs and head office overheads. It is easier to establish these costs if they were charged to the specific job. If not charged to the job, costs may be allocated proportionally. Labor and equipment. This involves the uneconomical use of labor and equipment, including idling time, whether the equipment is owned or leased. Loss of profit. Generally, lost profit on other contracts may not be recoverable under standard contract forms. However, if there are no contractual limitations, a claim for loss of profit under general legal principles may be possible. So now, you have a basic understanding of the intricacies of disruption claims that are crucial for successful project management. You can get in touch with our legal experts for further information. They'll be there for you if you need them. We specialize in contract management, claims preparation and management, dispute resolution, forensic delay analysis, preparation of extension of time, project management, insurance management.